The heart of Lumina. Admiral Zakharev of the Galactic Federation stretched her four appendages and sighed deeply as she stared out the viewport of her personal quarters aboard the Federation flagship Eternal Horizon. The vast emptiness of space greeted her, punctuated by the distant twinkling of stars and the occasional passing of a Federation patrol ship. Her nictitating membranes blinked rapidly in frustration. Another day, another crisis, she muttered to herself, her voice carrying the distinct melodic undertones common to all Nexarians. Sometimes I wonder why I even accepted this promotion. The communication panel on her desk chimed, interrupting her momentary self-pity. Admiral, we have an incoming transmission from Queen Lyra of the Luminari. Priority Alpha, announced Lieutenant Drex, his voice carrying a hint of urgency. Zakura straightened her posture immediately. The Luminari were one of the most peaceful and technologically advanced species in the Federation. If their queen was making a priority alpha call, something catastrophic must be happening. Route it to my private terminal, Lieutenant, she ordered, moving swiftly to her desk. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the elegant form of Queen Lyra. Even through the hologram, her bioluminescent skin cast an ethereal glow. But today, the usual serene blue radiance of her skin was pulsing with anxious red undertones. Admiral Vex, Queen Lyra began, her voice strained. We are under attack by unknown hostiles. They appeared out of nowhere, using some form of technology that bypassed all our detection systems. Zakura leaned forward, her four hearts beating rapidly in her chest. What do you mean unknown hostiles? There hasn't been an unauthorized species breach in Federation space in over 3 centuries. That's just it, Queen Lyra replied, ducking suddenly as an explosion rocked her end of the communication. They're not using any technology we recognize. Their ships are primitive compared to ours, but they're somehow neutralizing our defenses with alarming efficiency. Hold tight, Your Majesty. I'm dispatching the 7th Fleet to your location immediately, Zakura assured her, already tapping commands into her console. There's more, Admiral. Queen Lyra continued, her voice dropping to a whisper. They're not just attacking. They're taking people, abducting them. And we've intercepted communications. They speak of specimens and research subjects. A cold dread washed over Zakura. This was beyond a simple territorial dispute or resource grab. This was methodical, calculated. I need you to send your best tactical team, Queen Lyra urged. And there's one more thing. The transmission suddenly cut off, leaving Zakura staring at a blank screen. Lieutenant Drex, she barked into her comm, get me a direct line to General Thorne of Special Operations. And I mean now. Within moments, the grizzled face of General Thorne appeared on her screen. Despite being a Krell, a species known for their tough exterior and no-nonsense attitude, even he looked concerned. I'm guessing you've heard about the Luminari situation, he said without preamble. Just got off a call with Queen Lyra herself before the transmission was cut, Zakura confirmed. I need your best team on this, Thorne. Someone who can think outside the box. These aren't your run-of-the-mill pirates. General Thorne's expression darkened. I know exactly who to send, but you're not going to like it. Zakura's irritation flared. This is no time for games, General. Who do you have in mind? Commander Jake Sullivan. Zakura nearly choked. The human? Are you mad, Thorne? He's reckless, unpredictable, and has no respect for protocol. Exactly why he's perfect for this mission, Thorne countered. These hostiles are using tactics we've never seen before. We need someone who doesn't think like us, someone who can anticipate the unexpected. Zakura rubbed her temples with her lower appendages. Humans were relatively new to the Galactic Federation, having been discovered only 50 years ago. Most species viewed them with a mixture of fascination and wariness. They were technologically primitive compared to many Federation races, but they possessed an uncanny ability to adapt and an almost suicidal level of courage. Commander Jake Sullivan was the first human to achieve officer rank in the Federation fleet, and his reputation preceded him. He had saved an entire Krell colony from a devastating plasma storm by manually rerouting the colony's shield generators, a feat that had nearly killed him in the process. But he'd also been reprimanded countless times for insubordination, unauthorized modifications to Federation equipment, and what his superiors termed excessive risk-taking. Fine, Zakora finally conceded, but make it clear to him that this is a rescue mission, not one of his cowboy adventures. Queen Lyra needs to be extracted safely, along with as many of her people as possible. General Thorne nodded. I'll brief him personally. And Admiral, there's one other thing you should know. We've been tracking strange energy signatures at the edge of Federation space for the past month. Our analysts couldn't make sense of them, but they matched the signatures reported near Luminary space just before the attack. Zakura's blood ran cold. You think there are more of these hostiles out there? I think this might be just the beginning, Thorne replied grimly. Sullivan and his team leave in 1 hour. After the communication ended, Zakura slumped back in her chair. The weight of responsibility felt heavier than usual on her shoulders. The Federation had enjoyed centuries of relative peace, with only minor skirmishes and diplomatic tensions to manage. This was different. This was an unknown threat with unknown capabilities and unknown motives. And she had just placed the safety of one of the Federation's most valuable allies in the hands of a human who treated Federation protocols as mere suggestions. The universe had a twisted sense of humor. Commander Jake Sullivan was in the middle of retrofitting his personal shuttle with a modified propulsion system, strictly against regulations, of course, when General Thorne's summons reached him. Commander Sullivan to Special Operations Command, Priority Level 1, the ship's AI announced. Jake slid out from under the shuttle's maintenance panel, his face smeared with grease and a spanner gripped between his teeth. He spat it out and grinned. What did I do this time, Ida? He asked the AI. General Thorne did not specify the reason for the summons. Commander, the AI responded primly. However, given the priority level, I would advise prompt compliance. Jake sighed dramatically. Always so formal, Ida. One day I'll program you to loosen up a bit. I believe that would violate at least 7 different Federation protocols regarding AI personality parameters, Commander. And wouldn't that be fun? Jake chuckled, wiping his hands on a rag. All right, tell the General I'm on my way. 20 minutes later, Jake stood before General Thorne in the Special Operations Command Center, having barely taken the time to clean up. His dark hair was still damp from a hasty shower, and his uniform was wrinkled in places. But he'd learned long ago that when Thorne said Priority 1, he meant it. Sullivan, Thorne acknowledged with a nod. Glad to see you could tear yourself away from whatever unauthorized modifications you were making to Federation property this time. Jake grinned unapologetically. Just a little tweak to improve fuel efficiency, sir. Nothing to worry about. Save it, Thorne growled, but there was a hint of amusement in his eyes. We've got a situation. The Luminary home world is under attack by unknown hostiles, and Queen Lyra has requested our best tactical team for extraction. Jake's expression immediately turned serious. The Luminary? They're pacifists. Who would be stupid enough to attack them? The entire Federation would come down on their heads. That's what we need to find out, Thorne replied, bringing up a holographic display of the Luminary system. These hostiles appeared out of nowhere, bypassed all detection systems, and are using technology we can't identify. But here's the kicker, their ships are actually less advanced than ours. Jake frowned, studying the holographic display. That doesn't make sense. How are they neutralizing Luminary defenses if they're technologically inferior? That's what you're going to find out, Thorne said. I'm giving you command of the stealth frigate Shadow Dancer and a hand-picked team. Your primary objective is to extract Queen Lyra and as many of her people as possible. Secondary objective is to gather intelligence on these hostiles. Jake whistled low. The Shadow Dancer? That's one of our most advanced ships. Admiral Vex must be really worried if she's authorizing that. She is, Thorne confirmed. And she's not thrilled about sending you, either. So try not to blow up anything important this time. All right, Jake placed a hand over his heart in mock offense. General, you wound me. When have I ever deliberately blown something up? The Arxian negotiations. The Zillion space station. That time on Proxima 4 when you. Those were all tactical necessities, Jake protested. And nobody important died. Thorne fixed him with a stern glare. Just get the Queen out safely, Sullivan. This isn't one of your solo heroics. You've got a team to lead and a delicate diplomatic situation to handle. Yes, sir, Jake replied, straightening his posture. When do we leave? Now. Your team is already aboard the Shadow Dancer. Here's the mission brief, Thorne said, transferring data to Jake's personal device. And Sullivan, be careful. We have no idea what we're dealing with here. Jake nodded, his usual playful demeanor replaced by determined focus. We'll get it done, sir. As Jake left the command center, Thorne couldn't help but feel a twinge of concern. Sullivan was undoubtedly one of the most capable officers under his command, but he was also unpredictable. In a situation as volatile as this, that could either be their greatest asset or their downfall. Either way, the fate of the Luminari, and possibly the security of the entire Federation, now rested in the hands of a human who had a habit of making up the rules as he went along. The Shadow Dancer slipped through space like a ghost, its advanced stealth systems rendering it virtually undetectable to all but the most sophisticated scanning technology. From the bridge, Jake surveyed his team. Lieutenant Neradalix, a Cyrene tactical specialist whose empathic abilities made her invaluable in combat situations. Sergeant Bravery, a hulking Krell whose strength and durability were legendary even among his own kind. Dr. Voss, a brilliant Nexarian xenobiologist who specialized in emergency medicine, and technician first-class Owen Harper, another human who had a gift for cracking alien tech. Status report, Jake ordered as they approached the Luminari system. Stealth systems operating at optimal capacity, Commander, reported Lieutenant Telix from her station. We're picking up multiple unknown vessels in orbit around Lumina Prime. Energy signatures don't match anything in our database. Life signs on the planet? Jake asked. Dr. Voss looked up from her console, her forearms working simultaneously across different displays. Scattered readings, mostly concentrated in underground shelters. The palace complex still shows significant life signs, but they're fluctuating. Jake's brow furrowed. Fluctuating how? As if they're being, I don't know, sampled. Dr. Voss said uncertainly. I've never seen readings like these before. Sir, Owen called from his station. I'm picking up some kind of energy web surrounding the palace. It's creating a dampening field that's interfering with transporters and communications. Can we punch through it? Jake asked. Owen ran his fingers through his red hair, a habit he displayed when thinking hard. Not from here. We'd need to be on the ground, physically interface with one of their terminals. Jake nodded, decision made. All right, here's the plan. We'll take the stealth shuttle down to the surface, land as close to the palace as possible without detection. Brax, you're our muscle. Dr. Voss, bring everything you might need for emergency treatment of Luminari physiology. Owen, pack whatever tech you need to bypass their systems and disable that energy web. Lieutenant Telix, you'll be our early warning system. The moment you sense hostility or deception, you sing out. Understood. Everyone nodded, their expression serious. Rules of engagement, sir? Sergeant Brax rumbled, his gravelly voice matching his rocky exterior. Jake's expression hardened. They're abducting Federation citizens and attacking a pacifist race. If they get in our way, take them down. Non-lethal if possible. We want prisoners for questioning. But your lives and the lives of the Luminari come first. As the team prepared for their mission, Jake couldn't shake a feeling of unease. Something about this situation didn't add up. Why attack one of the most peaceful and well-protected species in the Federation? And how were these supposedly technologically inferior hostiles bypassing some of the most advanced defensive systems in the galaxy? He had a sinking feeling they were about to find out, and that they wouldn't like the answer one bit. Commander, Lieutenant Telix called out, interrupting his thoughts. I'm picking up a direct transmission from the surface. It's on an emergency Federation frequency, heavily encrypted. Jake moved to her station. Can you clear it up? Working on it, she replied, her fingers dancing across the controls. They're audio only, but it's coming through. A voice crackled through the speakers, strained and breathless. "This is Queen Lyra of the Luminari. If anyone can hear this, the palace has been breached. They're taking everyone. Please help us." Jake's jaw tightened. "Tell the shuttle bay to prep for immediate departure. We're going in now." The stealth shuttle cut through Lumina Prime's atmosphere like a surgical blade, its advanced cloaking systems rendering it invisible to conventional detection methods. Inside, Commander Jake Sullivan and his team performed final equipment checks. The mood was tense, electric with anticipation. "Atmospheric analysis complete," Dr. Voss announced, her forearms working independently across multiple screens. "Oxygen levels nominal. We won't need breathing apparatus. But I'm detecting unusual particulates in the air around the palace." Jake frowned. "What kind of particulates?" "Nanoscopic. Almost like a technological mist," she replied. "I've never seen anything quite like it." "Could be how they're neutralizing Luminari defenses," Owen suggested, loading encryption breaking algorithms into his portable scanner. "Some kind of airborne system disruptor." Jake nodded. "Then we go and suit it up. Full isolation protocols until we know what we're dealing with." The shuttle banked sharply, descending toward a clearing in the bioluminescent forest surrounding the Luminari Palace. From above, they could see the palace's crystalline spires glowing with pulsating light, but instead of the usual serene blue, they flashed with alarming red and purple hues. "Landing zone secure," Lieutenant Telix reported, her empathic senses stretched to their limits. "No hostile presence detected within immediate vicinity." "Don't let your guard down," Jake warned as the shuttle touched down with barely a whisper. "These hostiles have already proven they can mask their presence." The team disembarked, weapons ready, moving in perfect formation toward the palace. The legendary gardens of Lumina Prime, known throughout the galaxy for their beauty, were trampled and scorched. Strange burn patterns marked the ground, unlike any weapons fire Jake had ever seen. "Sir," Sergeant Braix rumbled, pointing to a nearby tree. "Look." Jake approached cautiously. Embedded in the trunk was what appeared to be an arrow. He pulled it out, examining the primitive projectile with disbelief. "Is this some kind of joke?" he muttered. "Who attacks an advanced civilization with arrows?" Dr. Voss scanned the object with her handheld analyzer. "It's not just an arrow, Commander. The tip contains a complex neurotoxin, and there's a miniaturized transmitter embedded in the shaft." Owen stepped forward, taking the arrow from Jake. "May I?" At Jake's nod, he examined it closely. "This is ingenious. Primitive and advanced technology combined. The transmitter looks like it's designed to interface with nervous systems. My guess? These aren't meant to kill. They're meant to tag and track." "Hunting tools," Jake realized with growing horror. "They're treating the Luminari like game animals." A sudden scream pierced the air, sending a jolt through the team. It came from the direction of the palace's eastern wing. "Move," Jake ordered, and the team sprinted through the gardens, keeping to cover where possible. As they reached the palace walls, they encountered their first signs of resistance. Two figures stood guard at a side entrance, humanoid in shape but with distinctly non-human proportions. They wore what appeared to be hunting gear, complete with camouflage patterns that shifted to match their surroundings. "Take them down." "Non-lethal," Jake whispered. Lieutenant Telix raised her stun pistol, firing two perfectly placed shots in rapid succession. The guards dropped without making a sound. "Bind them and take samples," Jake instructed Dr. Voss. "We might need to identify their species later." As Dr. Voss worked, Owen approached the palace door, connecting his portable terminal to the Luminari security system. "Their systems are in chaos," he reported. "It looks like the hostiles used the palace's own security measures against the Luminari. Clever. Evil, but clever. Can you get us in?" Jake asked. Owen grinned. "Already done." The door slid open silently, revealing a corridor lit by the natural bioluminescence of Luminari architecture. The team moved inside, advancing carefully toward the throne room where Queen Lyra was most likely to be found. "Life signs," Jake whispered to Dr. Voss. She consulted her scanner. Multiple Luminari signatures throughout the palace. Most appear to be in some sort of stasis. And something else, non-luminary biosignatures moving in groups. They're systematically going from room to room. Hunter parties, Sergeant Bryax growled. They traversed the palace corridors, avoiding hostile patrols where possible and silently neutralizing them when necessary. The deeper they went, the more evidence they found of the Luminaries' desperate resistance despite their pacifist nature. They had clearly fought back using whatever means available. The throne room is just ahead, Lieutenant Telex whispered, her empathic abilities picking up intense emotions, fear, pain, determination. The Queen is there, but she's not alone. Jake signaled the team to take position around the ornate doors leading to the throne room. Through a narrow gap, he could see Queen Lyra surrounded by 5 of the hostile hunters. Her bioluminescent skin flickered weakly, indicating severe distress or injury. "What's the play, Commander?" Sergeant Bryax asked, his massive frame tensed for combat. Jake assessed the situation rapidly. "Bryax, you take the 2 on the left. Lieutenant Telex, the one by the window. Owen, disable any tech they're using to control the palace systems. Dr. Voss, be ready to tend to the Queen. I'll take the 2 nearest to her." The team nodded, moving into position. "On my mark," Jake whispered, drawing his modified Federation blaster. 3, 2, 1. Go. They burst into the throne room, moving with practiced precision. Sergeant Bryax charged the leftmost hunters, his rocky form absorbing their hastily fired arrows without flinching. Lieutenant Telex's empathic abilities allowed her to anticipate her target's movements, making her shots unerringly accurate. Owen slid across the polished floor, plugging his device into a terminal and furiously typing commands to disrupt the hunter's control over the palace systems. Jake sprinted toward Queen Lyra, his focus absolute. The 2 hunters nearest her turned, raising strange bow-like weapons that hummed with energy. They fired simultaneously. What happened next occurred in fractions of a second, though to those watching, it seemed to unfold in slow motion. Jake saw the trajectory of the arrows, not aimed at him, but at the already wounded Queen Lyra. Without hesitation, he launched himself forward, throwing his body between the Queen and the incoming projectiles. Both arrows struck him squarely in the chest. Pain exploded through his body, a burning sensation spreading rapidly from the impact points. Through gritted teeth, he fired his blaster twice in rapid succession, dropping both hunters before they could knock more arrows. "Commander!" Dr. Voss cried, rushing toward him as he staggered. "The Queen first," Jake gasped, fighting to remain conscious as the neurotoxin began to take effect. Mission priority. Queen Lyra's luminescent eyes widened in shock as she watched the human collapse to one knee, still maintaining a protective stance in front of her despite his injuries. "Why?" she whispered, her melodic voice weak but clear. "Why would you do this?" Jake managed a pained smile. "Federation protocol. Protect allies at all costs. Plus, I've always been a sucker for royalty in distress." The rest of the team secured the throne room as Dr. Voss divided her attention between the injured Queen and their commander. The arrows contained a neural paralytic, she reported grimly, scanning Jake's vital signs. "It's designed for luminary physiology, but it's affecting you differently. I need to get you both back to the shuttle immediately." "The palace," Queen Lyra began weakly, "is back under luminary control," Owen announced triumphantly from the terminal. "I've locked the hunters out of your systems and sent an alert to all Federation ships in the sector. Reinforcements are already on their way." Jake felt his vision beginning to blur, the paralytic spreading through his system. "See? Told Admiral Vex I wouldn't blow anything up this time." And then darkness claimed him. Consciousness returned slowly, in fragments of sensation and sound. The soft hum of medical equipment, the antiseptic smell of a sterile environment. Voices speaking in hushed tones nearby. Jake opened his eyes to find himself in the medical bay of a Federation vessel, surrounded by monitoring equipment. Dr. Voss stood nearby, conferring with another medical officer. "Did I miss the party?" Jake croaked, his throat dry. Dr. Voss turned, all 4 of her arms gesturing in surprise. "Commander, you're awake. Sooner than expected." Human resilience, Jake replied with a weak grin, full of surprises. How's the Queen? See for yourself, said a melodic voice from the doorway. Queen Lyra glided into the room, her bioluminescence once again a serene blue, though perhaps not quite as bright as it should have been. She approached Jake's bedside, her expression solemn. Commander Sullivan, she said formally, you saved my life at great risk to your own. The Luminari owe you a debt that cannot be easily repaid. Jake tried to sit up, wincing at the lingering pain in his chest. Just doing my job, Your Majesty. Any Federation officer would have done the same. Perhaps, Queen Lyra replied with a knowing smile. But it was you who did, and for that, the Luminari wish to bestow upon you our highest honor. She gestured, and another Luminari entered the room carrying an ornate box. Queen Lyra opened it, revealing a small crystalline object that pulsed with inner light. This is the heart of Lumina, she explained. It contains the collective wisdom and gratitude of my people. It is normally reserved for Luminari who have served with distinction for over a century, but the Council was unanimous in their decision to present it to you. Jake stared at the crystal in amazement. I'm honored, Your Majesty, but I can't accept something so valuable. You misunderstand, Commander, Queen Lyra said gently. This is not merely a decorative award. The heart of Lumina forms a sympathetic bond with its bearer. It will enhance your natural abilities, grant you insights when needed, and serve as a direct line of communication between you and the Luminari people, regardless of distance. She placed the crystal in his hand. The moment his skin made contact, the crystal flared with brilliant light, changing from blue to a deep, vibrant purple. Fascinating, Dr. Voss murmured, scanning the interaction with her medical equipment. It's harmonizing with his neural patterns. Jake felt a warmth spread through his body, washing away the remnants of pain and fatigue. More than that, he felt a sense of connection, not just to Queen Lyra, but to something vast and ancient and wise. What is this? He whispered. The collective consciousness of the Luminari, Queen Lyra explained. We are all connected through what you might call a psychic network. This crystal allows you, a non-Luminari, limited access to that network. It is a gift given only twice before in our history, both times to individuals who fundamentally changed the course of our civilization. Jake swallowed hard, suddenly aware of the magnitude of the honor being bestowed upon him. I don't know what to say. You need say nothing, Queen Lyra assured him. But there is one more thing you should know. The heart also grants its bearer a significantly extended lifespan. Our scientists estimate that for a human, it would add approximately 200 years to your natural life expectancy. Jake's jaw dropped. 200 years. Queen Lyra's expression became serious. Commander Sullivan, what you did, stepping in front of those arrows meant for me. It was not just an act of bravery. It was an act that saved not just my life, but potentially the future of my species. The hunters who attacked us were collecting specimens for genetic experimentation. Their goal was to harness and weaponize our natural bioluminescence and psychic abilities. Who were they? Jake asked, his mind still reeling from the revelation about the crystal's effects. They call themselves the Vaughn, Admiral Zakharev said, entering the medical bay. An isolationist species from beyond the galactic rim. We've managed to interrogate some of the prisoners. Apparently, they've been observing the Federation for decades, studying our various species' abilities to determine which would be most valuable to harvest. Charming folks, Jake muttered. Admiral Vex fixed him with her intense gaze. Commander Sullivan, I owe you an apology. When General Thorne recommended you for this mission, I had serious doubts. Your methods are unorthodox, to say the least. But effective, Jake couldn't help adding with a small smile. But effective, the Admiral conceded. The Federation Council has been briefed on your actions. They've unanimously voted to award you the Star of Valor, our highest military decoration. Jake blinked in surprise. Thank you, Admiral. Additionally, she continued, in light of Queen Lyra's unique gift to you and the intelligence you've provided on the Vaughn threat, the Council is creating a new division within Special Operations. Its purpose will be to identify and neutralize emerging threats to Federation security before they can escalate to the level of what happened on Lumina Prime. Let me guess, Jake said dryly. You want me to run it? Actually, I want you to be its field commander, Admiral Vex corrected. General Thorne will oversee the administrative aspects, but your team has already volunteered to form the core of the new division. Jake glanced around the room, noticing for the first time that Lieutenant Telex, Sergeant Brax, and Owen were all present, standing respectfully near the door. So, Jake mused, I get to keep my team, run high-risk missions against unknown hostiles, probably break a few more protocols along the way, and I've got an extra 2 centuries to do it all in. Admiral Vex's expression was carefully neutral. That's one way of putting it. Yes. Jake grinned broadly. Well, when you put it like that, how could I possibly refuse? Queen Lyra's bioluminescence brightened with apparent pleasure. The heart chose wisely. You will do great things, Commander Sullivan. Jake looked down at the crystal in his hand, still pulsing with that strange purple light, then back up at his team, his friends, who had followed him into danger without hesitation. You know, he said thoughtfully, when I joined the Federation fleet, all I wanted was to explore space, maybe see a few interesting planets, flirt with some exotic alien species. And instead, you've become a legendary hero to an ancient race and been granted virtual immortality. Dr. Voss finished for him, her tone amused. Plus a fancy new job title, Owen added with a grin. Jake laughed, feeling the crystal warm in response to his joy. I suppose there are worse career paths. Admiral Vex cleared her throat. I expect a full report once Dr. Voss clears you for duty, Commander. And this time, try to keep the creative embellishments to a minimum. No promises, Admiral, Jake replied cheerfully. After all, who'd believe the truth anyway? As the others filed out, leaving him to rest, Jake found himself alone with Queen Lyra once more. You knew, didn't you? He asked quietly. When you called for help specifically, you knew I'd be sent. Queen Lyra's luminescence dimmed slightly in what Jake now recognized as the luminary equivalent of a blush. The Luminari have limited precognitive abilities, Commander. I saw possibilities, paths that might be taken. Some led to destruction. One led to salvation. And that path happened to include me jumping in front of arrows meant for you? The specific details were unclear, she admitted. But yes, I saw a human standing between my people and annihilation. I saw you, though I didn't know your name until General Thorne sent word of your deployment. Jake nodded slowly, absorbing this new information. So what happens now? What does this heart thing really mean for me? Queen Lyra placed a gentle hand on his. It means, Commander Sullivan, that you have become part of something greater than yourself. The Luminari believe that all beings are connected, threads in a vast cosmic tapestry. You have now become one of the brightest threads, one that will influence the pattern for centuries to come. She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. It also means that you will never truly be alone again. The wisdom and comfort of my people will always be available to you, should you seek it. Jake felt the crystal pulse in harmony with his heartbeat, as if confirming her words. He thought about the implications, centuries of life ahead of him. A direct line to an ancient and wise civilization. And a new purpose, defending the Federation against threats it didn't even know existed yet. And all because he'd made a split-second decision to step in front of flying arrows meant for someone else. Well, he said with a wry smile, I guess the reward really was worth every arrow. Queen Lyra's bioluminescence flared brightly in amusement. Indeed, Commander Sullivan. Indeed it was. As she glided from the room, Jake closed his eyes, feeling the gentle presence of the Luminari consciousness at the edges of his mind. Respectful, not intrusive, but unmistakably there. A new adventure was beginning, one that would span centuries rather than years. And honestly, he couldn't wait to get started.